song. That ending song was brilliant.
I just kind of like the idea of like a villain having their own theme song.
Sam 14. They got me. Red herring. Of course that was bound to happen in a mystery series. I should have seen it coming. The red herring got me. It was Agatha all along.
Which kind of makes me wish Marvel villains had their own theme song.
Yeah, speaking of Agnes, if I recall from last week's episode, a certain somebody said that Kneale and I had to apologize because we all thought that, Agnes was normal. Well, turns out in this episode...
Red herring. It was red herring.
And who hey, wait. Who said that she wasn't? Who was suspicious of her all along? Who said that, she was bad since episode 1? Who said so?
Sherry said that. Oh, sorry.
To be fair, though, Cher, when Callum said it, you had your doubts. I never wavered. I knew she was evil yesterday.
That dark-haired lady who looked like Glenn Close's Cruella de Vil. Red herring got me. They got me. Kind of adds insult to injury that I myself am wearing red right now. Can I really get rid of that much red? As Loki said.
I stuck with it.
I mean, yes, I had a little bit of doubt, but I still 100%. Well, I wouldn't say 100%. 90%.
I screamed at Callum and said, "Fuck you! She's still evil."
Yeah.
Look at where we are today.
You have my full permission to call me out. That red herring got me.
Nana boo boo. You wear it under him.
Yeah. Since the first episode, I had my suspicions. Yeah, I had doubts, as Kneale said, but I was right.
I'm a little upset with myself because I never made my my video, which was my full theory of WandaVision, and in that, I was basically going to say that Agatha Harkness and Agnes have to be the same person, because if there is no witch in the show, how are we eventually going to get Wanda with the name Scarlet Witch? There has to be a reason for that.
Well, aside from Scarlet Witch herself.
Red. It's a passionate color.
Scarlet Witch is Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. It's just that we've been saying all along that Mephisto was behind this, but now that Agatha has been revealed...
Are you trying to say... Now, Callum, before you finish what you were just saying, I want to remind you of last episode where you said Agatha wasn't the villain. Are you now claiming that Mephisto is not a part of the show?
Hold on. I'm not one to say things that are definitive unless the evidence comes along and, things come to reveal themselves. Whenever people say, "Oh, is this going to happen?" nowadays, I tend to say, "Well, we'll have to watch and find out." And, of course, things revealed themselves. And now that Agatha has been revealed, I just think to myself, now, is she a servant to Mephisto? Because, yeah, this was another major question revealed. And what I like about mystery shows like this is that they keep the mystery going. Some questions answered, now you've got more questions to answer. So at least be curious. How much control did Agatha have? Obviously, she was manipulating behind the scenes, but to what extent? Was she the master? Oh yeah, she killed the dog. How dare she? You don't kill puppies. That's how you summon.
Come on.
Well, actually, I gotta be real. I was rooting for Sparky to die because I know he eventually becomes a robot dog, and he can't do that until he dies. So
we know.
Agatha?
We know. Come on.
When are you going to learn that killing dogs summons John Wick?
That would be funny if he's the celebrity cameo.
Just goes up the vision. Wake up, robot. We've got a city to burn.
It would be a weird take for the MCU.
Often associated with Wanda. Vision has a sort of a maroonish red Is Tony Stark had a maroonish red with his Iron Man suit as well, right? Thor had a red cape. They emphasized the color red in the Endgame trailer. Am I going a bit too far with this?
So real fast, just to do a recap of this episode.
We're missing one person. Hi, Melissa. We're sorry you're not
Yeah,
here.
she just messaged me. So she said she'd join in a sec when she can. But
Okay.
for now, recap. This episode starts with just Wanda not being in full control of the town anymore. Agnes comes in to babysit the kids because Wanda needs alone time. Monica tries to get in and successfully does get back into Westview. Vision and Darcy begin their journey back to confront Wanda. Monica does confront Wanda. Monica has powers now, and then Monica goes to Agnes's house, and bam, Agnes is Agatha.
The plot thickens.
I mean, for every time I've accidentally called her Agatha, I now feel justified.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think comic book fans would have probably seen this coming with the AG name. Yeah.
I mean, we did.
You know, Agnes, Agatha, Harkness. It's just, come on, guys, put 2 and 2 together.
I mean, to be fair, though, if they wouldn't have made her evil, that would have been a hell of a red herring. Just the fact that, like, there are similar names, but 2 different characters.
Yeah.
That would have.
Episode.
Like I said before, I know this doesn't happen all the time, but during the casting list, I know it's just a coincidence. Quinkadoink. You know, whenever you see like the cast list, the villain is usually named last. I'm just saying, it's just a coinkadink.
I don't think she's the main villain.
And no, I know she's not the main villain, but it's usually, not all the time. It's just a coincidence. But I'm just saying. Carry on.
Thing. We'll talk about theories and stuff towards the end. I do think we need to talk a little bit more about Agnes as being revealed because obviously she is the villain, and if that little montage towards the end is to be believed, Agnes is the one who is controlling everything. Maybe she didn't create Westview, maybe that was still Wanda, but at the very least she's pulling strings. And
yeah.
I did notice a few details, specifically when we were in like her witch's lair.
Yeah.
Number one, that book, in case you guys are curious, that is called The Darkhold. That is essentially an evil spell book, like the you can't touch this book kind of dealio.
Oh.
I did notice on there were some runes and stuff that looked similar to some of the books that Doctor Strange had in his movie.
Oh, is that the whole, you know, how WandaVision ties into the lead into Doctor Strange 2?
Well, I have a theory of how it's going to tie together, but also I saw a symbol on the wall. There are like these gold symbols towards the roof, and I didn't know at all what one of them looked like, but one of them looked like the letter C with a crescent inside of it, like 2 moons side by side. And I wondered if that was a reference to Moon Knight, specifically the Egyptian god that Moon Knight follows. I'm curious if let's just assume for a second that Agatha is working for Mephisto. Maybe Mephisto is trying to get power to take out the other gods? I don't know. But that's one theory. I just wanted to talk about all that before I forget.
May I present my own theorizing cap for a moment, which I don't often do. It's mainly Kneale and Mel because they read the comics, so who am I to speak? But from my observations, I'm just thinking, okay, Agatha has all this power, but Wanda's still the one who initiated most of these events in the first place, you know, like bashing into the HQ, taking Vision's body, and presumably taking lots of people hostage. Well, that's yet to be revealed, as well as purposefully controlling her environments around her up until this point. I'm just thinking, did she and Agatha make some kind of deal, and then Agatha deliberately made her forget or something? Or some kind of a deal or something like that.
Now here's the thing. I think you're close, but I don't think she made the deal with Agatha. And the reasoning I have for that is, remember when Agatha goes, Agatha Harkness, glad to finally meet you, Wanda. It implies that they've never met.
Right, and like in the first episode, like the very first episode, like Agatha like introduced herself to Wanda because they never met. Basically, what Kneale said. So.
Yeah.
Also, I've noticed, and I guess this was kind of a sort of a subtle hint, when Monica gets through the barrier for the second time and gains her strange new superpower, she sees everything like Neo would in the Matrix, except she sees everything as purple.
Purple and blue.
Yeah, it's
Purple.
like red, blue, red, a little bit of green.
So I think I should talk a little bit about Monica's powers.
Right.
Essentially, whereas Captain Marvel is sort of space focused, Monica's powers are more energy focused. So through my perception, she's seeing the world has energy there. Like she's
chakras.
seeing the energy.
Like chakras, right?
Kinda.
Like chakras.
Like
right?
I assume anything that could give off power probably like shows off. Like when she looked at the sky, she could see stars even though it was daytime because stars would give off energy.
Right.
The power cords and stuff had a slightly different shade. I just think in general, like she can probably see like human energy too, but I would not be surprised if right then and there she is just able to identify energy and maybe track it and follow it. I don't know.
There's
These are
different forms
new
of
powers, man.
There's like the natural energies. There's the energy that's like all around us and stuff like that. Energies that are unseen.
There's chi.
Yeah, the Asian folklore love to endorse the spiritual idea of that they call chi. Yeah, so that remains to be seen. And Monica, I mentioned that she sees everything as purple because that's the color we're now associating with Agatha and her evil powers.
Yeah, because Wanda's red, and now we know Agatha's purple.
You know what's interesting to me then? Even though Agatha's magic was indeed purple, which by the way, I have questions about her magic in general. The book was orange. Like the Darkhold was glowing orange.
Oh,
Why
yeah.
was it glowing orange? That's not even Mephisto's color as far as I'm concerned. So what's going on with that book?
We
the
did
only
see.
thing I could come up with in the moment is like maybe the Soul Stone is somehow in it, but that makes no sense.
How about the skulls with the orange lighting? But that's kind of a stretch.
Well, the skulls, like, first of all, that was reddish lighting, as if I'm remembering it right. Second of all, I think the skulls are just a reference to the fact that she is straight up a witch. And by the way, in case anybody else is still doubting that Agatha is a witch and that she is serving Mephisto, the first shot we see of that cave when we see the lair. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say hello.
I think I'm sorry.
Caleb?
Oh no, Caleb. He knows too much.
This is getting to me.
Look, as soon as you get in the cave, the first thing you see is a goat with horns, and that shit looks satany. I'm just saying, it's Mephisto. I'm not even going to joke anymore. I'm not going to say everyone is Mephisto. He's a part of the show. He might be an after credit scene where it's like, who was Wanda serving this entire time? But Mephisto confirmed.
For Doctor Strange 2?
Unconfirmed. We do know we've seen an image of the devil, which we have to assume is Mephisto now, in Loki. In the trailer for Loki, there's a shot of a stained glass window, and that's Satan. You can see him straight up. And Mephisto is Marvel Satan, so that would just be Mephisto. But did we have anything like honestly? I'm having trouble to find other things to talk about in this episode because even though Monica got her powers and even though the kids got stolen, not a ton happened besides the big reveals. Like, I guess the
kind of like
commercial.
B plotting, whatever.
Oh, I have to explain the commercial.
Yes, the commercial.
Yeah, the commercial. Then
So
the Nexus.
Nexus is?
No.
I'm assuming it's what Wanda is using because the way they describe Nexus, it's very much relevant to Wanda's circumstances. Like, Nexus, because the world is too depressing. Or is it?
Oh, right. I think it's the world doesn't revolve around you. Or does
Yeah.
it?
I've only seen it once, so yeah.
So here's the thing. Nexus is a thing from the comic books, and you know how I was pitching, oh, Wanda might have like created some sort of pocket reality that is connecting to other realities. That actually is Nexus. Nexus is essentially a dimension that connects to all dimensions, and there can actually be people who are a part of the Nexus. So theoretically, in the comics, Wanda has been part of the Nexus before. So maybe they are saying that, like, in her grief, Wanda somehow connected and became an avatar of the multiverse. And maybe right here, she's trying to create her own. Maybe that's what was happening. She wanted to create her own world, but instead she ended up brainwashing ours. I don't know, though. That's just a theory.
Not even Wanda herself knows as she's talking to her kids. She has no answers. No, zero. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh, come on, Wanda, you have some answers.
I do think that, like, that one scene where she's talking to the kids, like, Elizabeth Olsen is acting her heart out because I remember just sitting there and being like, someone needs to get those kids away from her. She looks crazy. Like, I was worried about the kids.
But funny enough, the way you said that Agatha did that, and I was like, no, don't take those kids. Do not take those kids. I know what you're up to.
What I find interesting is that their food was half-eaten, implying that the food was drugged. Like, that means that, like, she didn't use her magic to knock them out. No, she used, like, pills and stuff and knocked them out and then took them. So I wonder if her magic is limited or something, and maybe taking the kids restored it, because why? Now, that can't be true because she, like, possessed Quicksilver. I don't know, man. This asks a lot of questions. We got one really big answer, one really big reveal that we needed, and now peppered throughout a million questions.
Yeah.
This mystery just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and with this episode, I think it could be right up Deadpool Street. The title is literally called Breaking the Fourth Wall. The characters talk to an interviewer who's later, funnily enough, turns out to be Agatha, which I thought was quite funny. And there's various parts of the...
Again,
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would love it if the show just ends with an after-credit scene, which is Deadpool watching WandaVision, and then he just goes, it was okay, needs more mutants. And then the show ends. I don't think that's going to happen, but I want it to.
Yeah.
So real fast, let's ask the question. Because at this point, because the episode is clearly going towards something, I think we need to be a little more direct. Number one, what's going on with Quicksilver? What do you guys think?
Well, Snipper's gonna snoop.
Well, besides the after credit scene, because clearly, like, in that scene with Agatha, she was doing something to Quicksilver. She was using her magic on him. So
he put a spell on him, and now he's gone.
Go, solo.
And I love her dress. Kidding. I mean, we barely see her outfit, like her witch outfit, but it reminds me a lot of, like, the Hocus Pocus Sanderson sisters witching, outfits, like the Salem outfits.
Yeah. The sort of
it reminded me a little bit of, like, Winifred, a little bit of maybe Sarah.
Wretched, woolen, webby kind of aesthetic, yeah.
Right. I was getting like some Hocus Pocus vibes from that dress, and I was like, that looks fabulous.
I
Can we
want to
see
see the
this?
full version. I mean, I feel like there's gonna be a fight with Agatha in it, right? Like
All right.
I was sending this picture to share before the show even started, but if you recall, Wanda is supposed to get her comic accurate costume at some point during the show.
Oh
So
yeah.
I feel like that's when the fight's gonna happen.
Fight, 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 fight.
He
So
already
do you guys think
us.
Agatha brought Quicksilver? Do you think Wanda brought Quicksilver? Is it Quicksilver at all, or is it Mephisto?
Well,
Do
based
we
on
think
that
he's a
Funko
minion
Pop that you
or
sent
not?
us Wednesday,
Oh
Well,
yeah.
that could mean anything though. Like for example, for the information of people watching, there is a Funko Pop um, that has Pietro's name on it in air quotes, but
yeah.
it was quickly brought to my attention, and I knew this, and I was just ignoring it. But you're not supposed to do that. In the X-Men movies, Pietro isn't named Pietro; he's named Peter.
Peter.
So that could be why. Well, because like in the X-Men movies, he's just a normal American dude. In the Marvel movies, he is actually foreign.
Hmm. I mean, Peter and Pietro, it means the same thing. In case that wasn't obvious enough.
Oh yeah, but essentially, like I do wonder if he like is like let's say this is just the X-Men character brought over to the MCU. He's not gonna go, oh, they called me Pietro here. Okay, I'll just use this new name. No, he's gonna want to be his name. He's gonna be Peter. So I do wonder if it's just that.
I don't know.
But
Snoopers gonna snoop.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I really hope Quicksilver isn't evil because I want Quicksilver back in the MCU. Like honestly, I want to see a Quicksilver TV show. But um I do think there's still some sketch going on with him. Like
I mean,
specifically,
even in the episode, like, the kids were wondering about Uncle Pietro, and Wanda even said, "That's not your uncle," something along the lines of that. So,
well,
who is he?
here's the thing. I'm wondering if like we mentioned it last episode, Pietro could have been being possessed by Mephisto. I don't think that's the case anymore. What if the reason Agatha like accidentally drove towards the barrier and stuff is because she was actually not in her own head. She was possessing Quicksilver and making him interact with Scarlet Witch the whole time. So the reason she like drove to the barrier and stuff is because she wasn't thinking in her own mind. She was busy, distracted, doing shit with Quicksilver.
So, is he
Uh-huh.
a puppet? Was he doing some type of pulling strings?
I think she was puppeting him. I think she was using him to get more information from Wanda and sort of probing, which leads me to believe that maybe Quicksilver is just a victim. Like maybe he was just being used and isn't actually a bad guy.
Hmm. And speaking of that scene, I mean, Agatha literally played along when Vision booped her back into reality, as it were, which was the red herring that completely caught me off guard. And in the flashback, did she cast a spell on herself to make her more convincing to Vision or something?
I didn't
I
see
mean,
any purple hues.
I noticed she was like doing her makeup. So
Right.
I think she was just being showy offy.
Yeah, I think she was just, playing along, just improvising on the spot.
As if the
Hmm.
witch hat wasn't obvious enough. Yeah. I think
I-
Halloween was time for her to be herself. Yes.
I also think I should bring up why it is so weird that Agatha has purple magic that looks exactly like Wanda's. Because in the rules of the MCU, Wanda's powers were unlocked using the Mind Stone. So,
Power Stone, the one from Guardians of the Galaxy, yeah.
well, it's possible that happened, but here's the thing. The Mind Stone is the yellow one, by the way, so it doesn't make sense why her powers are red, but they were in the comics, so fuck it. Here's the thing. In the rules of the MCU, that's why Wanda's magic would look different from Doctor Strange's magic. Because Wanda's... What?
Which is green with the time stone.
Yeah, essentially, like... Well, it's also... No, ignore the stones for a minute, just their magical powers. Doctor Strange can do, like, yellow spells and different colored spells. Wanda can only do red. She's only ever been able to do red shit. So because of that... I mean, because of that, I think it's so weird that Agnes's magic doesn't look like Doctor Strange's. It looks like Scarlet Witch's. And we know that, like, the developers of the Marvel stuff do take very, like, careful consideration into the consistency with this stuff. Because when they were like, okay, we've got Mysterio, who is going to pretend to be a wizard, bam, his magic looks like Doctor Strange's magic. Because he's like a charlatan. So I don't understand why they made a conscious choice to make Agatha's magic look like Wanda's, unless it's... Okay, we're about to get comic heavy.
Okay.
You guys remember that Battle Royale game we did the other day, and I mentioned that Wanda has chaos magic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So chaos magic is essentially, if magic is a gun, chaos magic is a missile. It is a bigger weapon, more powerful, but it is dangerous. It can harm the shit out of people using it and stuff like that. It can be very hard to control. And since Wanda's magic and Agatha's magic look the same, either A, the Yo Magic commercial was a reference to somehow Agatha is like taking Wanda's magic, or B, they both have chaos magic. And that could be really bad.
Could it be all the above?
Well, I'm just saying, I want everyone to remember that scene from Avengers Endgame where Wanda almost killed Thanos by herself, and now look at Agatha having the same kind of magic. Meaning, potentially, Agatha Harkness is stronger than Thanos.
Ooh.
Uh-huh. And since we're getting people pulled in from other dimensions and shit, this kind of tracks. Honestly, I don't know if Wanda and Monica Rambeau and Vision are going to be enough. I think they should call the Avengers.
It's about to get crazy.
I do like Vision. I'm going to like Agatha, I do like Monica. But which is better? There's only one way to find out. Fight!
Fight.
I mean, honestly, I think Thor could be very useful right now. Because there is about to be some shit going down in Westview.
Not even the Norse god of thunder could avoid the spell of Scarlet Witch, mind you.
Well, that's true. All I'm saying is they need backup.
Lots of
And
it.
I know they got those soldiers that frickin' Jimmy Woo is with right now. By the way, those guys are totally Skrulls. I don't know if you guys picked up on that. They're totally Skrulls.
What proof do you have?
I didn't know. Oh.
Did you notice that when they're talking, they're talking about Maria Rambeau, but then halfway through, the soldier goes, "She's not the only one we're loyal to." And the way that she said that, it just sounded a little devotee. Maybe as if they weren't even talking about Maria Rambeau, but were actually talking about Captain Marvel.
Oh boy.
Oh no, I don't think Captain Marvel is going to show up. It's too late. As she would have by now. But
And then Captain Marvel showed up, trashed the entirety of Westfield, and everyone was saved by Brie Larson because everyone loves Captain Marvel, right?
and
Especially
then
Kneale.
and then an arrow comes in and kills her.
And then Thanos says, "There's not enough time," and for some demented reason brings her back to life.
And then Hawkeye kills her again, and then the next movie is just Captain Marvel coming back to life repeatedly, and Hawkeye killing her, and in the background, Doctor Strange goes, "Dormammu, I've come to bargain."
Did you guys catch the reference to the episode?
What do you mean? Which episode?
This episode.
Well, what reference then?
Like, you know, like the sitcom.
Alright.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The intro was The Office.
Oh.
Ah.
Okay. I knew it was either Office, but it also reminded me a little bit of Modern Family. Like the interviewing. Reminded me a little bit of Modern Family.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the two. Both had the interviewing.
Yeah.
The intro, however, is a direct reference to The Office.
The Office. Yeah, I knew that. It's just like the rest of it kind of just reminded me a little bit more of Modern Family. It's kind of like, you know, like last week's episode, how they had like Malcolm in the Middle and some other 90s reference.
I do think next episode is when we're going to start leaving the sitcom stuff behind. There are rumors that the last couple of episodes are both an hour long.
Well, there's only 2 more episodes after this. There's only episodes 8 and 9.
Yeah, the last couple of episodes.
Right. Couple, 2. Right.
Yeah, couple.
I can do math.
If they're both an hour, then that means we still have a little time left with the show. Like, every episode's been about 30 minutes. We've had, like, I want to say 3 hours and 30 minutes of WandaVision altogether so far. So, if each of the last episodes are an hour, then that would mean we're only just now really at the halfway point. And the show itself would be, I want to say, 6 hours and 30 minutes.
Ooh.
So the 2 last episodes are both an hour each. All the other episodes were half an hour long. Yeah.
Math.
Yeah.
But yeah, did we have anything specific we liked about this episode before we continue in series? What?
Right before the big reveal, I just kept cracking up because Wanda was looking for the twins, and then freaking Yo Gabba Gabba was on TV.
It was weird to see Yo Gabba Gabba again.
I was like, what the hell? That's a Nickelodeon thing. Why is there a Nickelodeon?
I mean, it was strange.
It was Doctor Strange.
Because I used to watch Yo Gabba Gabba. Fight me, okay? I don't care. I still watch Blue's Clues, y'all. I don't care how old I am. I'm gonna watch this crap. Okay, so because I heard the song and I was like, wait a second. Why is my childhood suddenly coming back to me? And then the camera pans up to freaking Yo Gabba Gabba, and I'm like, oh my god, my childhood. Freaking.
I can't wait for the in-depth dearists to be like, oh, the red one represents the reality stone. The green Yo Gabba Gabba guy represents the time stone.
Wait, okay, so funny enough, I actually remember all their names. That's kind of sad. It's sad. Okay, so the red one is Muno. The pink one is Fupa. The green one is Broby. The blue one, I think her name is Broby. Da-da-da-da-da.
These names are
Trixie?
terrible.
Trixie? Or something with the T. And
These
then
are
the yellow
names.
robot's Flex. I'm gonna search this up for a second. I'm sorry. It's my childhood.
Wait. Hold on. There's a red one, a blue one, a yellow one, a green one. Is there a purple one?
No, there's no purple. Okay, I got the names.
The
Okay.
pink one could count as purple.
Okay, hold on. So the red one's name's Muno. The green one's Broby. The pink one is Fupa. Tootie's the blue one. And then there's a yellow robot named Plex.
Again, terrible names. How does this connect to the Infinity Stones, though?
Okay, so I guess apparently Muno is reality, Broby's time. Plex is the
I want my reality to be the green cylinder creature with one ever staring eye.
Oh, Muno? Okay, and then the blue 2D is space. What stone does Fupa represent? Fupa?
The power
yeah,
stone,
Fupa.
of course.
Oh, okay, because pink and purple. Okay, I guess, whatever.
Well, also, of course, like Poofa or whatever the fuck her name is with the flowers. Obviously, the leader of the crew.
Actually, no.
Everyone.
It's not. She's not the leader.
I know the orange guy with the afro is the leader, but who cares?
Look at us! Here we are! We're meant to be talking about WandaVision, and we're talking about in-depth analysis of a Nickelodeon kids show!
To be fair, though, I've done that before.
This is how crazy WandaVision has driven us. You want order, then we must finish WandaVision, and then turn it in. Oh, and every day it doesn't, people will get mad. Starting today. I'm a man of my word.
Freaking Yoga
Love it if you actually went crazy and became like a Scottish Joker. But what it was leading into is, do we have any like highlight moments that were good? Anything that confused us, because there was a lot of confusing shit in this. Anything we want to discuss in more details? Let's start with you.
I had a flashback to the It movies when I saw the circus. It just wasn't pretty.
Bruh, you gotta get past this, Cher. Clowns are good. They want you to laugh.
I'm sorry. I just have flashbacks. Terrible flashbacks.
It's all right. Just be comfortable with clowns in general, just not that.
You never go down to the freaking basement.
Is it comforting to mention the Tim Curry version over the other one?
I like Tim Curry.
Yeah, that works.
But Cal, did you have anything specific you wanted to talk about or that you liked?
Oh, various things. As for the episode itself, it was interesting to have the more awkward, laid-back humor of presumably like the early 2000s sitcoms, and some funny like breaking fourth world jokes.
He actually said it takes place to like the mid to late 2000s, but carry on.
There were some interesting interactions, namely between Vision and Darcy. And Darcy was almost still herself, but in an escape act until Vision woke her up. And they try to escape in the ice cream van, only to be confronted for some mysterious reason by people fixing the traffic.
They did that on purpose. They knew what was going on. They did that on purpose.
So yes, things are going on, and I liked the little exchange between Darcy and Vision. Darcy's telling Vision everything that happened, which for some reason Vision cannot remember, but the love is still real. That was really sweet. Very sweet.
That was so cute. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Too bad Valentine's Day was like almost a week ago, but you know.
There was a rumor. This might be a joke, but a director essentially photoshopped a picture of Jimmy Woo's head on James Bond's body and said he was making a Jimmy Woo TV show. I'm just saying, if Jimmy Woo does get a TV show, which I want, you gotta throw Darcy in there. I'm just saying, what if we had like a behind the scenes Marvel TV show where like every time there's a big supervillain, Jimmy Woo just walks up and is like, "What's going on here?"
Assistants, assemble!
I mean, technically, Jimmy Woo was part of a superhero team in the comics called Agents of Atlas.
Dang,
So they
Agents
probably
of
call it
Shield,
that.
Agents of Sword, Agents of Atlas. Are we creating a knight here?
I mean, it does kind of feel like WandaVision is setting some stuff up. Like, for example, how many cameos have we had from Captain Marvel's voice in the show? I want to say like 3.
Right. Also, something else, and this is a more peculiar thing I've noticed. Even though Quicksilver was mentioned in the casting credits and mentioned here and there, he did not appear in any bit of the episode except for the after credit scene where he's sneaking up on Monica trying to snoop around, and he's just literally said, "Snooper's gonna snoop."
Well, he was briefly there just for a brief moment when like Agatha was revealed. But you're right. You're right. It's just his back was behind the camera, you know.
That could have been a stunt double.
Sure.
You idiots! You caught their stunt doubles!
I do like that. By the way, just sort of going on the Kneale prediction train just a little more. I do like that we did finally get a boom mic joke.
A what?
A boom mic joke. Friggin' Vision during his interview gets up and walks away, and he runs straight into a boom mic.
Oh, okay. I was like, what the heck are you guys talking about?
Okay.
Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Hello, Mel.
I was right. So was Neil.
And I was wrong.
So was Kneale.
Mm-hmm.
What about different things?
We were just going over this episode, what we liked about it. So if you want to share your thoughts, that'd be totally rad.
Okay, I did, because I've been fighting it since, what was the episode where she was really suspicious? Was that like was that episode 3 or 4? One where
it was 4 when she killed Sparky.
She even blatantly said she killed Sparky.
Well, yeah, this episode she did. Of being like, you fucking bitch. I think that was the one that we were all right on, is being like, yeah, pretty sure she did something to Sparky, and then being like, no, it was me. I killed him. Being like, you bitch.
To be fair, though, like, I said this before, I was actually very happy when Sparky died, because I was like, now he can become a robot dog.
Well, here's the thing with that, is that he might be, but it also too might be, because I noticed with comic book movies nowadays, especially with Marvels, that they won't put, of course, everything, and I don't expect them to. But I think that Sparky might just be a little like wink at the audience, of being like, "Hey, we reference Sparky."
I know,
but who knows?
But now, if they want to, they have the setup, because let's say after WandaVision is over, Billy and Tommy are just hanging out, and then one day it's like, hey, Tommy, check it out. I built my own robot dog, and we should call it Sparky.
Oh, I thought we were going to call it Garter.
That would be a good name, too.
It's a
very,
Jimmy
very
Neutron
new.
reference.
Tron.
It's a Jimmy Neutron reference.
I know.
But anyway, I think ever since that episode was where people knew that she was up to something, but then of course, like, the Halloween episode definitely was like giving her a red herring of sorts, trying to, piss us away, and some of us almost fell for it and stuff. But that was my favorite part, was the song of being like, it was Agatha all along.
I agree. That was
song too.
That's my favorite part too.
I do think forever now, one of my favorite parts of this little WandaVision reaction series is going to be Callum telling me to apologize to the character of Agnes, and me just screaming, "Fuck you, she's still evil." I think I'm going to carry that with me now because I ended up being right.
Oh, can I also point something out? I know I talked about it in the last episode, and I know it's, they're two completely different characters, but I'm sorry, Mel, I have to bring up Frozen again. I'm so sorry. I'm so
Damn it.
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well,
I'll hear it.
You knew I was going to do something pure Disney. I'm sorry. I have to.
What is your comparison, though? I'm curious.
Come on.
I apologize in advance to the people that really, really do not like Frozen. I like Frozen, but I don't love it.
What is the comparison? What is it?
Okay, it's just one little line that just reminded me of the very first Frozen movie. It's where Monica is confronting Wanda, and I don't remember the exact line, but she's like, "Don't let Hayward think that you're a monster," and it just reminded me of the first Frozen movie where Han says to Elsa when she's fighting off the guards, don't let them be the monster they fear you are."
Yeah.
It just reminded me of that. And my phone's going up. I am so sorry for that.
Come to think of it, both of the characters were fending off like these authoritative extras in order to protect themselves and their new homes, as it were. So there's another comparison. And the secret villain was interfering.
Yeah,
the whole
plus
time.
Elsa,
Which
Scarlet
which
isolate themselves. So again,
which
I
there
apologize
was
for making Frozen comparisons. I'm sorry.
which it's okay. I'll learn to live with it. But that's a
you.
joke.
Yes.
Anyway, but back to like what I thought, like it definitely like proved me right on one thing of like, yeah, it wasn't all Wanda, that somebody was pulling the strings, and since Agatha and Wanda, what did they Mephisto? So if we're not seeing him in the next episode, I'm hoping at least that they'll like hint at him being the next bad villain in the MCU. Like I'll accept it if they show like an after credit, because this was also the first episode that actually gave us an after credit.
Which was kind of weird because I was watching the first episode. I remember thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna get to the end. There must be an after credit scene," but there was just like the typical different language credit. I thought, "Oh, okay. I guess there's no end credit scene." They choose episode 7 of all episodes that like almost more than the midway point, which is weird. Not the end, but right before the end, to have an end credit scene, which I thought was a little bit weird. But hey ho, whatever they need to tell their story, I guess.
Right, but what I loved the fact of like, because at first, I'm not gonna lie, I was like a little bit bummed out with Agnes being revealed to Agatha, only for one reason, and that was because it was the predictable choice, right? But there was hints and red herrings and all that led to it. But I think what I loved about it was that, montage where it goes, it was Agatha all along, that I was just like, okay. Because I was kind of leaning towards that one girl in episode 2 where she asked Wanda, "Who are you?" in the radio scene. Yeah, I was leaning towards Dottie just because like she was the first like character in that world, or in Wanda's little hex, that kind of broke the fourth wall a little bit of being like and getting out of her, spell, and I thought that she was fucking with her. But we haven't seen Dottie since. So I was kind of banking that it would have been Dottie and stuff, just because of how she was with, in episode 2 specifically, and then we don't see her again. But I think
fun fact.
But
I hate to interrupt, but fun fact: Dottie is in this episode.
Right,
And
she's
then
in like
next
it's like
coming
a
up
very brief moment when Monica's confronting Wanda. It's like a very brief, like split second kind of.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she's like doing stuff in a garden.
We have
okay. But
we.
But yeah, because that was gonna be my choice just because like she was the first one. But like I said, the only thing that made me happy with it was the montage of being like, okay, like she's got the charisma, the spunk, and she definitely can pull it off well. For sure. Like the moment that she, interfered was when I was like, it's Agnes. Or sorry, or Aggie.
Yeah.
Yep, she gonna put a spell on you.
And also too, like I like the fact that they went with a show choice that none of us predicted that they were going to do, because I just recently for the first time ever started watching The Office when it was still on Netflix. So the fact that they made an Office reference to this episode was really funny to me.
I think they also made, like I said earlier, I think they also made some family, not Family Matters. I'm sorry, Modern Family reference too, but it was mainly The Office.
Yeah, they did, but it screamed The Office because that was one that we didn't even think of. And two, it's just like because The Office is such an adult sitcom that I think we were all just focused on like what are family friendly like sitcoms. We weren't thinking of adult. And Disney pulled that off pretty well of making like a cleaner version of The Office of being like, I'm not mad about this.
There was
at
Yo
all,
Gabba Gabba. That I know it's not a sitcom, but there was Yo Gabba Gabba. That's.
And of course,
Sorry,
go ahead. Oh, I was gonna wrap up like my final thoughts. Like, I love the fact it was The Office. I did, warm up to, Agnes being Agatha this whole time because of the montage. I also too like the Dottie and Vision like team up. It was really funny and
Darcy.
it was really cute. Or sorry, I just woke up.
Darcy Vision.
You're good.
Like I stayed up till like almost 4 talking about the episode with like Eli and stuff, so I'm still a little bit groggy, but yeah, but Darcy and Vision, I love them as a duo.
I just, if you would have traveled back in time and told younger Kneale one of your favorite parts of a show is going to be the character of Darcy Lewis, I would have asked Kat Dennings, and you would have gone, yes. I would have not believed you were from the future, and I would have tried to get you in a psychiatric home. Because I would have assumed you needed help. But I love her. I love Darcy in this. It's like, looking back, that character wasn't a bad character. She was just a terrible pick for like a movie like Thor, to the point where now we have something where she's a doctor and she fits in with the world and the wackiness. She's a great character for this. I hope she shows up in like other stuff.
Does that mean that the Manda forgotten the villain from
Mandalorian?
the villain from Mandarin. Does that mean the Mandarin should have been in Guardians of the Galaxy?
I have no idea what your correlation between these two things are. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, that's been the only like villain that has been given like a good representation, but no, I would disagree. And I'm kind of on with Kneale that I don't fully understand the correlation here, but I think I kind of get it, and I'm just shooting in the dark here. But I think they're gonna reach.
Yeah, they're gonna revive I'm about to say Mandalorian, but so
Mandarin is going to be in the Shang-Chi show. But I'm not understanding what you mean, like,
you mean movie,
oh, wait.
Not show, right? You mean movie.
Yeah, he's getting a movie. I think I understand what you're saying. Are you saying, like, the character, like, whereas Darcy as a character was much better in this project, are you saying that, like, maybe if we took the bad character, the Mandarin, and put him in something else, he would have fit better.
And not just that, I'm just beginning to think which characters throughout the whole of the MCU would have better fitted particular movies. I'm beginning to think to myself.
I mean, I think my one complaint about Darcy and Jimmy Woo, my one complaint about the two of them is left and right, Monica is referencing Captain Marvel, and yet we have not gotten a single reference to, like, Thor through Darcy, and Jimmy Woo hasn't talked about the fact he knows Ant-Man. Although we did get the card trick, which makes it all worth it.
Right.
All right,
I think, like, I think I understand now is that, like, certain characters, like, I know that people were really, 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 really pissed how they treated, shit, you guys just slipped the name.
Mandalorian!
Sorry. No, not Mandalorian. Help me. I'm like just starting
The
on my talk.
Mandarin? Are you guys talking about the Mandarin?
Yeah, the Mandarin. Yeah. A lot of people were really pissed
Myself included.
about how they portrayed the Mandarin. Yeah, because, like, the Mandarin plays, like, a huge role in the way that they downplayed it and the fact that we never saw them again. So I think what they're doing is, like, make up for their discretions in the past by first starting off with Darcy and Jimmy Woo, because they weren't, like, great in their, first debut films, because, like, you gotta also give, like, Marvel a tiny bit of slack of the fact of being, like, they started the revolution of the MCU at the time, so they weren't going to be perfect, and not saying that they're perfect now. There's still, like, flaws. Like, for example, like, I dislike the Civil War movie a lot, because to me it was the least accurate. I understood the creative liberties, because it's just like, yeah, they're not going to be able to fit a huge saga of the Marvel comic universe into one movie, but at the same time, it's like they kind of flinched in Civil War. They flinched a lot, and I get that Disney is.
Am I out of
But I feel like with Darcy, with the, like, yeah, like what Kneale said, he was really happy that they made Darcy into this great character in this. I think they're making up for crunch time, but we'll probably see that later on. Like, probably not in WandaVision per se, but I feel like that they're making up for past transgressions that they weren't able to do beginning. Right. So yeah, Darcy wasn't a great fit in Thor, but she needed to be in there so that way we could have her as a better version now. Same with Jimmy Woo.
I mean, I thought Jimmy was great in Ant-Man. I'm not gonna lie, he made me laugh my ass off. But honestly, like, in comparison, like, here he's cool, he's badass. I love him so much.
Oh yeah, and I definitely love the fact you brought up the card trick too, of being like, he finally got the card trick. It's awesome. But yes,
there are so many fucking images that says Disney plus Jimmy Woo, and it's a picture of a card with his face on it now. I want that on a shirt.
But yes, but overall, like, I like the fact that it is confirmed that Monica is gonna be pretty much Miss Marvel at this point. I feel like this episode, like, really unpacked a lot of things in comparison to the other episodes before. Like, there's still some episodes that are my clear favorite, but this one definitely is, like, opening up to where it's just like, yeah, Wanda's not the one pulling all the strings here. We're getting new characters and new heroes, and we're also getting new villains, and that there's more to come, and we got 2 more episodes to go, right?
And I can confirm, because, like, I haven't been secret about it, I did see leaked footage. I can confirm there is at least 1 more commercial on the way.
Oh, of
so
course.
that means next episode is probably going to be another sitcom episode.
Oh, I would have reckoned that all the episodes would have had commercials in them, but I guess I stand.
No, episode 4 doesn't have a commercial.
No.
Right, episode 4 is just like how they fill in like the gaps from the first 3 episodes.
Right.
Oh yeah, of course, the military, of course. Die, you dummy. Yeah, you dunderhead. Ha! I said it before Kneale.
Oh wait. Wait. We got 3 more episodes to go because you said that it's total of 10, right?
Now it's 9.
I think they said 9. Yeah, they said 9.
No, I don't want it to be 9. Do
Oh,
10.
it's okay. After that, wait 2 weeks, and then bam, Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's what's great about this. Literally,
yes.
right as it ends, bam, other show.
That's fair, but no, I definitely like this episode just because it was like, yeah, we're now like if the other episodes didn't say now you're in the shit before, it's just like now we're in the shit now of being like. But I'm kind of wondering what they're gonna do with Agatha at this point, just because like in some versions of the comic books, Agatha is, Scarlet Witch's mentor. In a good chunk of it.
She's usually a good guy who does bad things, but now it looks like she's just a bad guy.
Well,
she's the bad guy. Duh.
The only concern I have is I hope she doesn't get the Hela treatment. I really hope not. And for those who don't know what
I was about to say it. You go ahead.
Which, for those who haven't seen Thor Ragnarok, which is one of my favorites out of the Thor saga, it really is. But what I mean is that they don't just have her as a one note, especially like Agatha and Hela do play like pretty big parts in the comic book. So I did not like how they treated Hela as being like just this one note, you're in this, because like out of all the one note villains, like they at least got a good chunk of their movies like about them, like Ultron, for example, right? A lot of focus was on him, but still being focused on the Avengers. So I don't call him a one note because it was just like he had a huge part to play. Whilst with Hela, on the other hand, they did so much like back and forth and like cutbacks where we didn't really focus on her as a villain. Like all we just got was being like, oh yeah, I was the first daughter of Odin. And because I was bad, he shunned me and now I'm taking over. And then it skips to, Thor and Hulk a good chunk of the time, which I understand that they were trying to build that up for Infinity War and Endgame, but still it was just like out of all of them, she got the treatment, same with like the Mandarin and all that. So I'm hoping that they don't do the same with Agatha. I really hope of being like, I hope that she's at least around, or they don't just treat her so one note of being like, I'm the bad guy for this show, and then never touch it again.
Yeah, with Lady Galadriel having too much fun with Aku horns. Yeah.
I mean,
right, like
I wouldn't be surprised if Agatha herself doesn't necessarily. I have one little theory about Agatha right now. You know how Billy, I think it's Billy. You know how Billy mentions you're quiet, and clearly Billy has like developed these psychic powers.
Right.
My theory is, what if Billy can see into people's souls, but Agnes doesn't have a soul because she sold it to Mephisto, and this is her trying to get her soul back.
Oh, yikes!
Ooh, that's
that might be a thing, because like that was also too like a little bit of a red herring too. And I liked that because they were trying to have a last attempt of being like, you're quiet. But it would have been more like confirmed of a red herring if they sat with like the other people and being like, you're awfully quiet, and that would have proven being like, oh, so they're all controlled. But I kind of like that theory though of that. But I mean, I guess
my track record for theories has gone pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, with Nexus being revealed, which once again, my theory about like, oh, Wanda created a pocket dimension that is like combining dimensions together. In the Marvel comics, that's what Nexus is. It's like this middle ground where all the dimensions fuse.
Right. Like, I'm sure that like the next big like combination project for the MCU is going to revolve around Nexus for sure, just because of that alone. But
Well, it's also possible that Wanda is Nexus, but I guess we'll have to see.
we'll have to see. Like that's possible, especially like anybody who knows Scarlet Witch knows that she's one of the most badass, like really powerful characters in the show. So that could be a possibility of them hinting towards that. But I guess what I mean with like Agatha is like with Ultron at least you got enough of him where it's just like if he's not seen again, and also too he did help like get Vision into the light. Like if they gave them enough screen time to where it's like I don't mind not seeing them again, that's fine by me because I liked what they did with Ultron. But if they give, Agatha like the hella treatment or the, why am I spacing them? I need more coffee. That's all.
Mandarin?
The Mandarin.
Yeah, like if they give him like the, Mandarin or the hella effect, I'm gonna be really, really bummed by that. Just because just like if you I don't care if like villains like live on through the whole entire franchise, right? Or any franchise for that matter. All I care about is being like you give them enough screen time so that way it's just like they had a purpose, even if they never come back, they had a purpose in the roles. So that's what I'm scared of, and that's why like I thought Agnes would have been too predictable. But yes, like I'm not dying on the hill that that I was building up to of being like, no, I accept the fact that she's Agatha. Like, I'm fine with that. I just don't want it to be, oh, it was for nothing.
I do trust these writers, though. Just based on all the other episodes, I think they're going to nail this. But, real fast, because I think we've talked about the main plot of the episode a bit.
There is one thing I'd like to mention in terms of theorizing. Monica managed to get
we're going into theories now.
Yeah, Monica almost got in with a space car truck, but it didn't quite get in because I think the barrier kind of knew, okay, this is too strong. I'm going to repel you, Van. So then Monica got out, and then she kind of forced herself through, even though it's clearly established that in previous episodes that if she went through again, there's chances that her molecules might disassemble and whatnot. But I think there was hints of that with like 5 versions of her struggling through, but then through willpower and spiritual strength, she managed to gain the blue eyes, indicating the new power she managed to get through. So I don't know how strong maybe her spacesuit played a massive part in helping her through, or maybe she's already been through it, so she knows what it feels like, or a mixture of willpower and spacesuit. So that might be the key to getting everyone out of Westfield. Maybe if they provide a lot of maybe if you somehow contact her team, like get a lot of space suits. Let's get everyone out of here, or something like that. Or maybe Monica's gonna like use her newfound powers or something like that.
My head explanation for it is Wanda is trying to keep threats out of Westview. Her magic is probably specific about that, like, oh, I have to keep out all threats. She's not a threat. Monica is a friend, and the magic might realize that. So it's trying to keep her out, but in the end, she can like plow through because her intentions are pure. Cher, did you? Go ahead.
Hang on. But there were previous episodes where enemy drones flew in and got them just fine.
But they were like deactivated. They were pacified. They were turned into helicopters.
Yeah. Not only that, but they weren't as much of a threat until that moment where she confronts them, and of course, like that douchebag Kneale.
Yeah, that was before the wall went red.
Right. Of being like, so you have to think about it that way, being like, she probably didn't view them per se as a threat until they pissed in her Cheerios. And it was just like, oh, so you are going to be threatened. So, but I think a lot of that was answered in that episode per se. I think it is leaning more towards, that Darcy did say as being like, if she went through this again, it might fuck up with her, molecular levels. I don't think the suit really has anything to do with it.
Cher, did you have anything specific you wanted to mention? Stuff you like or stuff you think could be important later, or just stuff that confused you? Because there's plenty of stuff that confused me.
Oh, I thought I already did that earlier before Melissa was here. Talking about Yo Gabba Gabba and freaking it.
I mean, if all you want to say is Yo Gabba Gabba was a part of this, we can move on to someone else.
No, invest us. Talk more about it. Get into the conspiracy theories.
No. We went into enough about Yo Gabba Gabba.
You said we could theorize, and theorize we must. We must overanalyze everything.
The Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I said all the characters of Yo Gabba Gabba were secretly Infinity Stones.
Oh my goodness.
They matched the colors.
Well,
except for pink, they match.
Except for the pink one, Fupa. Yes, I know.
What do you have to respond to that, Mel?
Don't judge
What
me.
about Mel? What?
The Yo Gabba Gabba joke. Just forget about it. We're moving on to bigger and better things.
Talk to us about it, Mel.
No, I veto you. I veto you. I veto you.
She doesn't have to, Callum. Let's just move on.
This is interesting.
With actual development to the show, though, I think that I'm trying to think of what I liked most. Honestly, this episode did confuse the shit out of me, though. I think at this point, I am so interested in Quicksilver. I am just obsessed with what's going on with the dude. Like, at first I thought he was Mephisto. I'm not so sure anymore. I think he might be a victim in all this, too. At the end, in the after credit scene, he pops up. And I don't know if he's a bad guy. Like, is he going to capture Monica, or is he going to help her? Like,
well,
part of me thinks it would be so interesting if that story he tells to Wanda about, like, oh, I was just chilling, and then I heard you calling out to me. I think it would be so interesting if that was just true. Like, oh, I don't know why I'm here, but I know I care about her.
Let's analyze the scene. So Monica approaches the house. She tries to find a way in. She notices a door to the cellar. She opens up. She sees the creepy...
She sees the vines. Her eyes go purple. And which I assume is part of her energy powers.
Quicksilver came up and just simply said, Nooper's gonna snoop, as if he caught her off guard. And then Monica turns around. Her eyes are going purple, so some people might think, oh no, Quicksilver's a servant of Agatha and he has her under a spell. But
her eyes were already purple. When she saw the vines, her eyes were purple.
Yeah, it's just like the aura. She sees the aura of the basement.
Yeah. I think it's her new powers.
She senses Agatha's powers. It's like that aura inside of someone's body.
Wait. I figured something out. I think. You remember what you said earlier about the Funko Pops having the quotation marks for Quicksilver, as if to indicate that he was not what he seems or fake or something like that. So what if Monica turned around? The reason we cut to her is that she sees Quicksilver for what he really is.
That would be a thing. If my energy theory is true and Monica can now see the energy in people, which again, my big argument for like our subtle confirmation of this is she looked up into the sky, and even though it was day, she could see stars, almost implying that like she can like detect energy and see it if it's there. I do think that if like
that's right, wavelengths. Right.
I do think that if like either it's Mephisto, she would see like either fire or some sort of shape instead of him. Or alternatively, if he's from a different dimension, maybe his personal like aura color would be different from a normal person's.
She would either be completely freaked out or sort of confused to figure it out.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if look, I'm just gonna be real. If Quicksilver was a bad guy, why wouldn't he just knock her out there? Why give
Sure.
himself up?
Well, I would assume that Quicksilver doesn't know about her newfound powers, so for at least the first time I was watching it, I thought, oh no, Quicksilver's caught Monica off guard and he's going to tell her off or something like that.
But is that really important enough for an after credit scene? I feel like this is a subtle hint that like Quicksilver and Monica are going to team up.
Snooper's going to snoop.
Oh wait, going back to your energy thing, I just realized something. Wavelengths. You guys know about wavelengths? It's gonna get a little sciencey here.
Oh, who doesn't know about wavelengths? Whoever studies science, yeah.
Just
Everyone
in case
knows
there's someone out there who doesn't know about wavelengths. I will explain it.
Right. Wavelengths.
Actually, now that I'm sitting here and thinking about it, I think she's the second Captain Marvel. Like,
Monica?
I think we're seeing it. Yeah, Monica. Because, like,
I think
the
we
name
established
sounded familiar. Okay, because you guys keep saying Miss Marvel, and so did I, and I was just like, no,
Oh,
Miss Marvel's
no. She's not Miss Marvel either. Like she's okay. So real fast, Cher, we'll go back to your science in just a second. But real fast, in the comics, Monica Rambeau has 3 superhero identities. A, she becomes Captain Marvel and takes the mantle, but she doesn't just straight up have those powers. Number 2, she's her own character named Photon, and the name Photon has been shown. Number 2, Spectrum, which would kind of suit these powers. And number 3, Lieutenant Trouble, which seems to be the one the MCU is hinting at.
All right. She'll sense all kinds of trouble with her ability to sense energies from science, from magic, from all around her. Just figure out what's going on, yes.
But Cher, what is the wavelength science you were speaking of?
Physics. Gosh, I gotta go back to physics then. Freaking astronomy.
Give us
Okay.
the abridged version, my dear.
Right. So there's wavelengths. I don't remember the exact definition, but there's like short wavelengths, and then there's like long wavelengths, and each of them, kind of has like a specific color, or whatever. So like the shortest one is like there's like radio waves. Right. There's radio waves, microwaves, infrared, optical, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma ray. Visible light is pretty much the one that's in the middle, where you can see like the colors of the rainbow. Mm-hmm. And the radio waves, for some reason, because radio waves are usually defined in red, and they're the slowest of the wavelengths. And then there's gamma rays, which is in purple, and that's the fast. Those are the faster wavelengths. I don't know why I just talk about wavelengths and like the colors. It's just
that is what made the Hulk, so correlation.
Yeah, gotta realize that all this stuff is very finely tuned at the end of the day. Go on, Milk.
Right. God. Shoot, freaking wavelengths, man.
To be fair, I think there's some truth to what you're saying, because like her vision changes and she sees everything in blue. So maybe she's seeing like specific wavelengths, or like I think it is just a situation of just she is seeing, instead of like structures and shapes, she's seeing energy.
It's mainly the electromagnetic spectrum. That's what the wavelengths. It's the electromagnetic spectrum.
Well, if she sees the Hulk, that must be one heck of an acid trip for her.
I'm just saying, she broad daylight, she saw the stars. And immediately to me is she sees energy.
Yeah, and gamma rays are the most dangerous ones out of the entire spectrum. And gamma rays are usually defined in the purple, because they kind of like color code each part of the electromagnetic spectrum. So radio waves are like the lowest ones, which reminds me of like in episode 2, where like that radio, and then like red. We only saw red in that episode. That's like reminds me of like radio waves.
If this is going where I think it's going, does that mean the whole of Westview is filled to the brim with gamma radiation?
Gamma, I would say probably not, but it's filled with something.
No, because like I said, if it was gamma ray, everyone would have been dead. I was just saying because it's just color
Darcy
coded.
mentioned cosmic radiation.
Right.
Right. I just mentioned that because she saw purple. That's all.
Well, it's just because it's color coded. Each one, it's not exactly purple. Just because I said gamma ray, it doesn't mean it's just like color coded. But visible light is where you see the entire rainbow. You know, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
I wonder
That's
if she would be able to see like multiple rainbows.
I think Monica has like that visible light apart out of the entire electromagnetic spectrum because she's able to see different colors. But that's just
you're right.
That's just my.
I think Cher's right too. I think what she's though trying to say, Callum, is being like we also have to give liberties to like that this is fiction. It's not real life too. So it's just like what Kneale said with like the cosmic radiation. It's just like yeah, because if it was like legit gamma, everyone
would be dead.
Yeah. Like
right,
there wouldn't be no WandaVision. Like if you were to put like all four of us in a room and they blasted nothing but gamma, we would drop like flies.
Yeah.
But because this is a fictional world, it's just like it doesn't have to be specifically like gamma rays or this. Like they could say that it's unicorn rays. You also have to give that like some liberty of being like it doesn't have to kill anybody, but it can be powerful. But no, I think like I think Cher's onto something with that of being like, yeah, I think one of her powers is probably going to be like she can sense radiation or can see like the energy that's around. Yeah, frequency.
And wavelength.
I wonder if
I just realized something. I'm looking this up. I know Wikipedia is not a reliable source. Don't go out on this, but it says here energy per photon because it's divided up in wavelength, frequency, and energy per photon. And you guys mentioned something about Monica being photon.
Yeah, no, yeah. I am now 100% sure that we just accidentally used science to figure out a Marvel plot point. Yeah, you just stumbled across the word photon, which directly connects to Monica. Yeah, this is what's happening.
Yeah. Because science is very...
It's also too because like I also too questioned because like it was bugging me for a little bit of why people were saying Miss Marvel and including myself being like that doesn't sound right. I mean, like Miss Marvel's getting her own show, and then
I meant to correct you, but then I like forgot.
Yeah, I've been meaning to like say something for a while now, but every time it's just like we're so invested in the show that I'm just like, oh, I'll bring it up the next time. But I was just like, yeah, it's been bugging me for a while. Why are we referring to her to Miss Marvel when she's not?
I won't call her Miss Marvel. Not
just call her Monica. Well, you said it.
Photon.
I think
did I really just figure out science?
Yeah, we use so much science. Isaac Newton would be proud of us today.
Well,
now, if only we could figure out what's going on with the dark hold using science.
Right. But,
well, the dark hold is the spell book.
Oh yeah, but something tells me with this show, it's just like, going back to like the theories and stuff, I'm either leaning towards like, not to bounce subject real quick, but what Kneale said about Quicksilver, especially like, when you pointed out, like I had to sit with, because we're not huge Funko Pop fans, we never have, like, they're lifeless bobbleheads. That's a different rant for another episode.
I have an Iron Man Funko Pop that is of him doing the snap, and it is one of my favorite collectibles.
I have a girl Funko Pop.
I am not knocking Funko Pop if people legit like them. I'm just saying that we're not a huge Funko Pop household, right? So we don't really care for that. But when you sent the picture, I'm sorry. I do own 3. 2 of them I actually didn't want. They were just kind of like bombarded by me, and I was like, sure, whatever. But the one that I cherish is like the Mr. Freeze Batman animated one that somebody got for me for Christmas. And that one's pretty rare. Like, you can't buy it from the shelf.
Stop
it! But when you pointed it out, I had to like sit there with Eli and being like, what do you see that's different between Pietro's, Funko compared to the other ones? And he, of course, because we're not Funko fans, he's just like, his head shape's different than the other ones. I was like, no, really look. And then when I brought up the quotations, he was just like, oh, fuck. And then when we watched the episode, we have two theories of what it could be. Either because of what Neil mentioned, like the obvious choice would be like he's Mephisto in disguise, because like the Halloween episode like made that really obvious on the nose of being like, oh, that's Mephisto, like devil horn hair. Like that's the easy one. But I think the other one that I have, and Neil kind of helped me with this, is that I still want to lean towards the second theory of that this is a Pietro from the X-Men past timeline. And that because Agatha has the powers that she does, I think he is either under her control and that she pulled him from a past time, or something to deal with like him being in control, but he was brought here for a reason and maybe he's not Mephisto. I think those are the two obvious like theories of that, of being like there's no other explanation why they would specifically do Evan Peters' specific Pietro instead of the other guys, of being like, I'm leaning towards it being like, because we're in this this little pocket dimension, and you mentioned Nexus, and being like, I think personally Agatha pulled this particular Pietro out from another dimension where maybe he survived, or maybe he's still correlating with the X-Men, or maybe it was the past, and has him in a sense brainwashed at the moment, kind of similar to like what happened to Vision, of him can't recalling anything from his previous life. But still
here's the thing. Let's go down those paths you just said. If it is X-Men, then it does make sense, because in the X-Men movies, specifically like Days of Future Past and all that, he isn't called Pietro. He's called Peter. His name is Peter Maximoff. So it still makes sense that there would be air quotes around his name if he is just from there. It's also possible that this is literally Pietro Maximoff's soul inside a random body. I think there's a lot of paths this could take. I do hope he ends up being good. I've said it before. I would just like it if we could get a Quicksilver anything, because that character was so underused in the MCU that I love that there is potential here for a second chance. So I do hope he's not just a villain.
Right, even though there's been like adaptations of him being a bad guy before, but I'm on your side of being like, I hope that he's either a good guy in this, or they utilize him pretty well in this. Kind of like similar to like my fear of Agatha with like the Hela and and the Mandalore effect, of being like, I don't want them to be just like second rate and then we never touch on them again. So I'm hoping for that too.
I also want to bring this up before I forget again. I think Dottie and some of the other ladies from the town are part of Agatha's coven. Because I was thinking in my head, wow, Wanda has like, once Wanda finally goes good, there's going to be like a whole team of people going up against Agatha. There's going to be Vision, Wanda, Monica Rambeau, the kids, and potentially Quicksilver, to the point where I think she needs some backup, unless she does have Mephisto. So I think maybe her coven is in the town, and I noticed...
Guys, hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
We hear you.
Oh my god, I just got kicked out. Freaking Agatha freaking kicked me out.
Agatha kicked you out of her coven.
Yep. You can't be part of her coven, I'm sorry. But
you're not witchy enough.
you have a point that there might be a potential. I know
wasn't-
another.
What the hell did I just miss?
Well, real fast, just to finish my thought. I noticed the mailman, the one that she like looked at before, and who has always been ever so slightly sketchy. He walks right behind her as they leave, and he has a ton of packages, and I'm wondering if those are like materials for her.
Doomsday devices.
I
Well,
think so too. I'm glad that you're the one who picked that up too, because I was wondering that of being like, almost seems like every time the mailman's around, Agatha, Agnes was around, and
Agatha looked at his butt earlier.
I'm still wondering about Ralph.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, who the hell is
But,
Ralph? Wait, Ralph Mephisto? I don't know. But I kicked out. God damn. What did I miss?
One more thing
Did I miss
before I forget. One more thing. When you first go into the cave, her lair, her witch's lair, right there, the first thing I saw with my eagle marvel eyes, there is a goat with horns. And we all know what that means.
Mephisto.
Satan. And when there's Satan in Marvel, Mephisto is there.
Also,
So I think-
too, like the big
I think
like
he's confirmed.
hint. Well, yeah, he definitely has to be confirmed at this point. But the other big hint, and I know that they focused on it a little bit more than the other stuff in the room, but the book specifically.
Yeah, the black hold. Or my mistake, the dark hold.
Yep. So I feel like
That
that's going
book
to be a huge.
is important.
Yep, it's really important for those who who either do or do not know the comics. But whether it's the goat horn or the book, it's definitely confirmed that being like either Mephisto's going to be the next big bad guy, whether he shows up in the remainder episodes or not. But he's going to have to be like at least like shown like probably in like an after credit scene of like the last episode or something at the minimum to at least confirm, yeah, we're getting Mephisto.
Loki, like, goddamn, there's so much conflicting here because Loki seems to be like Loki is going to be a time travel show, and
Yeah.
it seems to be hinting that Kang might be involved, and Kang is going to be an Ant-Man. We know that Secret Wars, the big MCU crossover with the Skrulls, is a show they are working on. So my question is, what the fuck are they doing for the big bad? Because they're setting up so much. They're setting up Mephisto, who could be a big bad. They're setting up Kang, who could be a big bad. They're setting up the Skrulls and probably the Kree army. They're setting up the X-Men. They're setting up so much shit to the point where I'm like, what are you doing? And it's so interesting that I have no idea what they're going to do.
In the meantime, since Charisse was absent, how are you enjoying your new superpowers?
Yes, you got booted from the Coven into Westview. So how are your superpowers, Cher?
Marvelous, darling.
Give her an English accent.
All right, let's move into final thoughts and ratings. Mel, how about you go first?
Okay, so this also too, like I said that this episode might change my rating from the last episode because out of all of them, it was like not the weakest in my opinion. So I think for this episode, I'm going to, or at least like the current episode, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Bump up my 0.5 to an 8. I did say that it would change my rating either way for the Halloween episode. So yeah, I think like it definitely confirmed a lot of things. It made the Halloween episode a bit better in my eyes because I did like go back to rewatch it before the episode, and but I do have like different opinions about that. But overall, like, I like the fact that they went bold with their sitcom choice of choosing, because I felt that it was a little bit too easy for them to pick family-friendly sitcom stuff. So I like the fact that they referenced The Office the most. Definitely love the fact that like you actually got to see Wanda really struggling with her with her mental state.
Oh yeah.
With everything that's going on, which the commercial was kind of like a slap in the face of that, of being like, oh yeah, that's like the worst like depression fucking commercial ever. Even though I get it's a mock towards those, but at the same time it's just like, ah, why did you have to kick it like that? So I love the commercial. I especially love the Darcy and Vision, duo there for a minute. And of course, like finally getting to see Monica Rambeau. And yes, even though I thought that the Agnes being revealed to be the Agatha, or to be an Agatha was the predictable choice, I think they made up for it by making it being like, yes, even though it's the predictable choice, you're going to love this choice. So yes, I give this episode a 9, and I changed my last rating from a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10.
All right. So a 9 for this one. Cal, before you get your rating, I've actually planned this from the start. You, before the show even happened, made a video about Marvel fatigue and how you thought that maybe the MCU was going too far. I wanted to check in on that now that we're nearly done with the show. So could you give your opinions on whether or not you still think that, how this correlates to Marvel fatigue and stuff like that, your final thoughts and your rating?
Well, to be honest, I'm still feeling that way towards other content to come, like with Winter Soldier and Falcon and the others, and for the rest of Phase 4, because they've done this formula of storytelling for so long, so time. It's becoming a predictable beat, and that's my main concern, basically. Maybe I mentioned it in the video, maybe I didn't, but it's this sort of predictable beat where it might get. I mean, obviously the writers are really talented. I grant them that, but if they keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, people are going to start picking up on that, and ironically, call it predictable. The reason I got into WandaVision, it was the exact opposite. Instead of giving me exposition, it was giving me far less exposition, and I was craving for it in a mystery setting. Instead of having these characters like get into the action, we get a more character focused than ever, with all these people talking to each other, and because it can allow the time to do that sort of thing.
So I do want to propose a question to you then, real fast, just based on what you just said. Do you think that is because this show is about Wanda and Vision, or do you think the fact that they can like take their time and develop things more is because it's a TV show? Essentially, what I'm asking you is, do you think after WandaVision ends, that's going to stop too, or do you think that could be in the other shows?
Well, if the writers were clever enough, this could have been about like Iron Man and his wife. It could have been about Captain America and Agent Carter. It could have worked with any of the couples, but this story works because it's in the format of a television show where they can take their time with the characters, and it's in a mystery format to get us invested. Nothing about it is predictable like we had with, or at least not according to the formula that we were so used to for the past decade, which made for something quite refreshing. Not that the Marvel films are bad in any way, it's just that, again, repetition, it might grow a bit weary, which is what a lot of the fans are complaining about, and fear. If they keep getting creative like this, keep being unpredictable somehow, I don't know how, but if they do something like this for this rest of this phase, I think they'll be onto something.
And
I'm interested in that.
Because I was going to be like, that's actually interesting you made a video about that, because like, just to put my 2 cents, I think the one thing that can help with the Marvel fatigue, and Callum, mentioned it, is if they do change up their formula. I do think that the biggest problem with like Marvel fatigue is the fact of repetition, of being like, we got the same build up, the same plot developments, the same comedy, the same this, the same that for a decade or so, like what Callum said. And I think that gets really tiresome. And I think WandaVision did break of that. And I don't think it's just like, I think like a huge part of it is that they made this into a TV series where they could take their time on it. But I also too think it's like, I think the other thing too is like, if they keep changing it up a little bit, whether it is a TV show or a movie, then the fatigue might go away. But I feel like my only concern with it is like, yes, I loved seeing the trailer of Falcon and, you know, and Winter Soldier, but I'm afraid that they're just going to go back into form too, of like what they're used to, what their shtick is. And Marvel changed the game for superhero movies for the better, but if they keep repeating, I feel like that's gonna cause them to, and I'm not saying I want it to happen, I really don't, but it's gonna cause to where there's gonna be that one movie which ruins the MCU universe for good, kind of like how DC ruined themselves. With the exception of a few movies on their part, they have come out with like several good movies from DC, but you don't change it up, or if you don't learn from the lessons of the past, people are going to get burnt. And also too, like my other concern. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Mel. You read my mind. I was gonna. This fatigue has happened before, and I know from personal experience. My main example could be like the Jason Bourne franchise. Like the Bourne trilogy was really intense, really thrilling first time watching it, and the Bourne legacy with Hawkeye in it, oddly enough, that was kind of a fun movie. But the one that's called Jason Bourne, I am sorry, it is one of the most boring movies I've ever seen. And it's a thriller movie. It's not meant to be boring. It's already done this formula, and we think, yes, we know, you're gonna go through this scene where they get exposition. Hey, Heidi, says secret information. Oh no, bad guy, run, rinse and repeat until the finale.
I think I can also add on, and I hate to say this because I am a huge Disney fan, the way sometimes Disney does things are a little questionable, especially whenever they do the plot twist villain crap, whatever. It gets really annoying overall.
Well, and
sometimes.
Also too,
oh yeah.
and also, oh, sorry. I was just going to add in just one more thing. Also too, as a fair point, as much as I love the MCU, but the one thing I think is their weakest crutch is being like, when was there a time, and I'm not just speaking to you guys individually, but I've noticed this with a lot of Marvel fans or MCU fans, is the big question is being like, when was the last time you watched the first Thor? Or when was the last time you watched the first Iron Man? Like the only time you hear stuff like that, like ever since they came out, was most people haven't watched them since their release dates or since they went out on DVD if they couldn't go to the movies, or they only either watch it to catch up to like Infinity War and stuff. And I feel like if they stick with the same formula that they did, because honestly, like I thought about it of being like, when was the last time I watched Ultron? I haven't watched Ultron since it came out in theaters. And same with Iron Man and stuff like that. Like I think like the only movie I watched like more than once was Black Panther, because I love that movie and being like it was just right on all levels.
Black History Month.
But even still, I haven't seen Black Panther since I got off the street and found out Eli hasn't seen it, and we watched it together when I got off the street of being homeless. I haven't seen it since, and I feel like that's like the biggest weakness. And I feel like a huge part of it is you know, with Disney. Disney's a powerful company. I will never discredit that. Like the fact that some people are trying to go after Disney is laughable to me, of being like, the only thing you could do worse and going after Disney is pissing on the IRS's front lawn. That's the only thing that would be worse than that. But they have the same shtick, and also too, it's like they're stuck in the past. Like, you see shit that they still do that they can't do anymore because we don't live in certain times anymore. And it's like, it's not okay, or it wasn't okay then, but it's just like, we don't live in 1960 anymore, where you're not giving like, and I feel like that Disney will be a huge problem if they don't change it up. And I think that's why WandaVision is the best, not only because it's like, it's, even though it's not faithful to the story that was based on the comics, but it's the closest one of an adaptation and creative liberties for those who read the comics get all the references, like Sparky, like the old, you know, uniforms that they had, to like things like Agatha and Mephisto and the twins. It's really been the only one that's been like, it's close to its source material, but also to keep you enough creative liberties where it's not straying away. So I'm afraid that that the WandaVision might be a one-hit wonder. That's what I'm scared of.
I was actually going to bring up, I got a couple things to say sort of in response to everything that's been said before we get back into final thoughts.
Let Callum give his rating real quick.
Okay, I'll just make my response as part of my final thoughts then. Calla, do you want to give your rating?
Firstly, does Agatha remind anybody of Glenn Close's adaptation of Cruella de Vil? Is it just me?
Yep.
Well, that and Hocus Pocus.
I was actually going to bring that up in response to the whole Disney is doing the same. I'm like, I really hope they're not doing the same with Cruella, because that looks so good.
That's a subject for their time that we should dive into. So why talk about that? Anyway,
let's just get 8 out of 10. Got it.
Are you an 8 out of 10?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a 9 and 8. Cher, do you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next. Right. Yeah, I'll go next. I think before I was cut off a little bit, I was talking about how Disney, and everyone knows that I'm a really huge Disney fan. I'm not gonna deny that. But even I know that Disney has made some questionable moves, and even they do a lot of repetition. Like, what if it's like the live action Disney movies, or plot twist villains, or not as good sequels as the predecessor, Frozen 2. But I don't know. But back to WandaVision. Yep, twins. Freaking. I called it. I called it. I know we said earlier I was a little skeptical at first, but again, I called it. So did Kneale, but I called it. Freaking Yo Gabba Gabba. I'm sorry, I still can't get over the freaking Yo Gabba Gabba being on freaking television of all things. I'm surprised they didn't do freaking Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or something. I don't know. But and that Agatha All Along theme song is just so great, and how Monica confronts Wanda, and Darcy and Vision, together. It's just, I liked it overall, so I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
What
I like about that Agatha All Along song is, I don't know if anyone else noticed it, it is also a reference to another sitcom. If you listen closely, that beat and that font are very similar to the Munsters.
I knew it. Yes, even the title of the it looks very Munsters. Yeah, I knew it.
It's the Munsters all along.
Thank you, Dad, for introducing me to some oldies. I love you, Daddy.
I just still wish they would have done Happy Days. I will always be sad that we didn't get Happy Days. We got a slight Happy Days reference in an intro, but I want more Happy Days. This WandaVision is you and mine.
I also got to mention Agatha reminds me of the Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus. But
The dress.
Just jumping into my final thoughts then. I think that, like, when it comes to Marvel fatigue, personally, like, I definitely, like, I actually did a response video to Callum's video. So, like, a lot of my ideas, if anyone's interested, should go there. But I will mention that I think that, like, specifically WandaVision is doing what Captain America, the First Avenger did, where, like, instead of being just, like, a story featuring these Marvel characters, it's like a giant love letter to the history and these characters. Like, you know, in Captain America First Avenger, there's just so many references to the legacy of Captain America, even down to him punching Hitler, which was the first appearance he ever made. And here in WandaVision, we get very similar things where the classic suits are shown. And we get Sparky the dog. We get all of these things with these side characters who, I mean, I think we can agree that, like, in the main story of the MCU, they were sort of sidelined for the most part. But now they're in the spotlight, and that spotlight is so bright and beautiful and colorful. We're seeing all these little pieces of their past. And I think that's what's gonna keep Marvel going, like, the characters. I get if they just keep telling the same stories, we'll get bored of it, but they seem to have realized that, and that's why they're telling a story like WandaVision and Loki and his time travel thing. So I think they realize that, like, if this is going to keep going, we got to keep changing. And I look forward to see those changes. But my rating for this episode is actually going to be lower than your guys's. I liked this episode, but I did not think it was the best episode. I thought it was pretty good, and I liked it. I will say my rating for... I can't remember what I gave the Halloween episode, but now that I have all of these questions about Quicksilver, I'm realizing they're almost directly from the Halloween episode. So if I didn't give that a 9 out of 10, I now give it a 9 out of 10.
I think
but with this one, I'm giving it a 7. I thought it was fine, but it did sort of just feel like, here's stuff that's happening. Like, for me, there wasn't a super cohesive narrative to this one. It was just, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. And I could think that's fine, but it didn't feel like a whole episode. It felt like part of an episode, if that makes any sense. Like, it felt like it lacked some structure.
I guess it makes sense because that's how I kind of felt with the Halloween episode, which is why that one's been my lowest score. But I find it funny that, like, even though we're friends and we get along swimmingly and we agree, but it's also too, like this has a fun thing of being like, you and I do things different because, like, what I saw in the last episode is what you saw. And I can see it.
That's why it's interesting to do these types of videos with more than one person, because you can compare opinions and, like, run theories. Like, for example, if I did this review by myself, I wouldn't have brought up any of the science shit that Cher brought up.
Yeah, and if I was doing this, I wouldn't have the... Yeah, if I did this, I would not have the knowledge from the Marvel comics. I would just guess from what I know about, just storytelling in general.
Me too.
And I love seeing, and that's what I love about reviews of Marvel comics specifically. You're going to get something different from each reviewer because there are going to be some people who know the comics or have been told the comics by their fans and have some knowledge going in. And then there are some people who this is completely new for. The Captain Marvel Encyclopedia.
No, I said I have. Remember a couple episodes.
Oh,
where
the
I said I
Marvel
have
Encyclopedia. Okay.
Yeah, I
I
have a
had that
Marvel
too.
Encyclopedia. Yeah.
The Captain Marvel comic book from a shot at one time. I remember showing that in the snow.
But yeah, I don't think this is by any means the worst episode or anything. I still think episode 3 for me was one of those episodes where I was like, eh.
Yeah, I think episode 3 was the weakest.
There's a lot of people who think it's one of the best, but I personally thought this episode was fine. Needed more. I think it needed more humor. I think it needed more structure, and I guess this is a criticism for the show as a whole. Even though we're getting a lot of this particular thing, I think it needs more. More Jimmy Woo.
More Jimmy Woo.
I'm just saying he's only done one card trick. I need to see him with a full deck of cards.
We gotta have more Jimmy Woo. I have a fever, and the only cure is Jimmy Woo. It's nowhere near as good as John Bailey's.
Also, like, I'm a little disappointed that it looks like Hawkeye isn't gonna come in because, like, honestly, like, I know that I'm the Hawkeye guy, but I think it would have just been a cool scene if, like, Clint Barton came and talked to Wanda because they've had this friendship the entire time. If he just came in and went, look at what you're doing. This is evil. I would love to see that conversation. But yeah, that's our ratings, guys. Please let us know.
32.5 out of 40, which is about an 81%.
A 32.5?
Yeah, 32.5 out of 40.
Okay.
I think that might be our lowest, I think, right?
I don't
Episode
think
3 is
so.
our lowest one for sure.
So 3 was.
But this episode would probably be the second lowest.
I mean, to be fair, I sort of came in and with my 7 and lowered the bar.
Yeah. Average is the mean. But
I
yeah,
do think wasn't our highest a 35?
36.
Oh, okay. So we still, has anyone given an episode a 10 out of 10 yet?
Nope.
No.
I'm proud of us. I'm proud that we're holding back on this. Because now when we finally give that 10 out of 10, it will be like, whoa! And of course it will be Hawkeye episode 1, and Hawkeye episode 2, and Hawkeye episode 3.
I guess that remains to be seen.
But thank you all for watching. Mel, you want to give your plugs?
Anywhere that has Imperfect Vanity in it, you can find me on Stardust, which I said, I am trying to make a return towards that, but it's also it's been one of those apps, like, I love the app still, but it's turned into this weird monster now. I feel like anytime I go on it and it's like, I'm gonna make a reaction because I just saw this movie, and then I see other people's, and it's just like, no, you guys don't give the same vibes as I remember. And of course they're different people than the people I'm used to, like you guys, of being like, it's just weird. But you can find me on Stardust at Imperfect Vanity. You can find me on Instagram, imperfect_vanity. I'm even on TikTok, even, like, anywhere that has my name or Imperfect Vanity or imperfect_vanity, you can practically find me. I just don't have a Twitter though, and I kind of refuse at this point.
I'm with you, sister. No Twitter.
I had that's
Twitter in the first place.
Put Twitter in the shitter.
But yes, but all my links should be down in the description below.
Callum, do you have anything to plug? You have a YouTube channel and that video that we mentioned.
Yeah, I'd recommend checking it out, and I endorse seeing Kneale's response. That was a really good response. I loved it.
Thanks, buddy.
It was good.
I really liked giving the response video because, like, it reminded me how much I love doing face cam stuff. And since then, I've been doing face cam stuff. So
you're welcome.
Cher, do you have anything to plug?
I mean, I only have like 2 things, just mainly Stardust, Sherry to This Wiz, and I have a Twitter, which I'm still wondering why the hell I got a Twitter in the first place. Oh wait, now I know why, because I wanted to follow freaking Tara Strong and any other voice actor. I think those two
I
other
feel
reasons.
that so. So
But
I
yeah,
actually have. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead, Sharon.
But yeah, like I said, Sherry to This Wiz. I haven't really posted anything because of school. Hopefully, maybe spring break, which is probably near the end of March, I might post something or two, depending. But I don't really use Twitter except when I want to say happy birthday to voice actors. So there you go.
Well, folks, I have something new to plug. You see, I finally got sick and tired of all of my friends talking about how they get paid for doing video game streams on Twitch and how silly it is that I do video game streams on YouTube. So I was like, you know what? I too would like to get paid. So I am now on Twitch.
Yay!
To have money.
I mean, we're getting there quick. We got our first donation literally the first stream. So
Oh, that's
eventually
nice.
we'll get there.
Congratulations.
But it is twitch.tv/Dr. Kneale. If you look me up, you can see me playing currently the game King's Quest, and tonight I will be playing Dead by Daylight. Hopefully we'll be doing other games and eventually get a couple podcasts up there too. But yeah, please go check that out. We do have a goal. If I hit affiliate, I will reveal one of the new songs on my album, which is too vulgar to even say in this video. So please go check it out. And just think about how vulgar I've been in this video already.
I do not endorse whatever album you're making.
It is literally
can.
vulgar and inappropriate. That's the name of the album.
Is it too much for me?
I mean, I think knowing you, I think you would find it funny. I can't give you any descriptions about it at all.
He's doing that. I don't endorse it. No, not at all. No, I don't do. No, you can't. I'm done. I'm done. Come on, Christian man. What do you think of WandaVision? No, I'm done. I'm done.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you all for watching. We will see you for the next episode. And we have officially decided that at least me, Callum, and one other person are going to do Falcon and Winter Soldier. So,
it's not
after
me.
we're done with one. Yeah,
I
we have a
want to be
whole
in
new
it
cast.
too.
I mean, Squid Jedi is going to be in that one.
Oh, then I'll let you have it. I'll let him have it.
In Falcon Winter Soldier, I want to start strong, finish strong with my nursing program, but I bid you guys good luck with the Falcon and Winter Soldier videos.
Yeah, and it's also too, it might be a sign that, because I've been meaning to catch up with like other Marvel shows. That way I'm like caught up to speed.
I mean, I also plan to cover Loki. So you want to RSV for Loki?
Heck yeah, I'll do anything for Tom Hiddleston.
I mean, I know I'm doing the Hawkeye show.
Okay, for all of that said, I think we need to end off this episode on something very important that's extremely relevant to Kneale. The Muppet Show is on Disney+ now!
The Muppet Show is on Disney+. Yeah, the full Muppet Show is on Disney+.
No. Great. Now I have something to watch. Good night, everybody. Get off this thing. I want to watch it.
Yo, Gabba Gabba. Yo, Gabba Gabba. Yo, Gabba Gabba. Yo, Gabba Gabba. And it was Agatha all along.
It's time to see Agatha and WandaVision tonight.
Yo, Gabba Gabba.
Okay, now I'm just imagining this alternative reality where everyone is a Muppet.
Wish that would have been the show.
Dude, right?
I totally love
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
The episode, tell him in the episode, you son of a bitch, in the episode.